The mainstream media are going to go hard on Project Fear from Carney's statement, but here's the other side of what he said, because fuck pessimism.
By contrast, the labor market remains tight, with employment at record highs and unemployment at 44-year lows, and pay growth strengthening as a result.
So the labour market remains tight, employment is at record highs, and unemployment is at 44-year lows. Pay growth is strengthening as a result of that. Basically, he's saying we're in very good shape at the moment.
Supported by the resilient labour market, households' confidence in their personal financial conditions is holding up, with spending rising broadly in line with real incomes. To be clear, UK households are acting prudently. This is no debt-fueled consumption boom.
Consumer confidence is holding steady despite the constant barrage from Project Fear, and to be clear, there is no debt-fueled consumption boom here either. So we're not borrowing what we're spending, we're just living within our means. That sounds pretty bloody sensible to me. Well done, folks.
UK inflation is currently bang on our 2% target. Domestic inflationary pressures have strengthened as wage growth has picked up, with growth in unit labour costs currently around target consistent rates, although core services inflation remains somewhat subdued due to temporary factors. Headline inflation will probably dip around 0.5 percentage point below target in coming months, owing to cuts into energy bills, but core inflation should remain relatively stable at rates only a little below 2%.
Inflation is bang on the bank's target, wage growth has picked up, which means that real wage growth is continuing its strong showing since the Leave vote. In the coming months, they're expecting inflation to drop by 0.5% due to a cut in energy prices. So, with energy bills being cut, that'll mean that Brits will still be able to live within our means and have more to spend than we currently do. Great news!
The bank has been working since the referendum to ensure that the financial system is ready for Brexit, whatever form it takes. In order to continue to serve their customers, whatever happens, UK banks are now both exceptionally well capitalized and highly liquid. Our contingency planning with domestic and EU authorities, our contingency planning with both domestic and EU authorities is mitigating possible risks to disruption of cross-border financial services. And most fundamentally, our institutional framework is robust. The bank has clear objectives, we have operational independence, all the necessary tools, and the needed resolve to deliver our monetary and financial stability remits.
UK banks are now exceptionally well capitalised and highly liquid, meaning they can move money around easily if they need to cover shortfalls. Sounds very much like the financial sector is as ready as it could ever be, and given that it's our most crucial sector and it's ready, there should be no further bloody hold-up then, should there?
At this meeting, the MPC judged that the current stance of monetary policy remains appropriate. Now, to conclude, profound uncertainties over the future of the global trading system and the form that Brexit will take are weighing on UK economic performance.
As you saw, he said there, at this meeting, the MPC decided that the current monetary policy remains appropriate, and this is despite the uncertainties weighing on the UK economic performance, like the China and US trade war and Brexit. Note that he said the uncertainties were the problem too. Nobody just quite knows what's going to happen. That's why no deal is now the best option. It's the only one that offers full clarity and respects the 2016 vote to leave. After Carney's statement, it was time for the questions.
Joel Hills from ITV News. Governor, the Bank of England assumes Brexit will be smooth. The markets are increasingly betting it will be anything but. Michael Gove assumes no deal will happen. Boris Johnson says the chances of no deal are 1,000,000 to 1. In the interests of transparency, Governor, yes, and for the people of the UK, what is the committee's view? How likely is no deal at the end of October?
And all I can do is quote the Prime Minister speaking earlier this week, where he said, "We're not aiming for no deal. We don't think that's where we'll end up." And the decisions on whether or not there is a deal are decisions for government in negotiations with their European partners.
I liked this answer. It's not his usual style, as he always gets bloody involved, but right here he is trying to say that's up to the politicians and the public, not the bank.
Ed Conway from Sky News. Governor, it's your last set of major forecasts ahead of that October deadline, and a lot of people will be looking towards you and towards the bank to try and get some sense of what to expect, how to prepare for a possible no-deal Brexit. So what's your advice to the person on the street? I mean, how do they prepare? What should they expect? What might this feel like from your perspective?
In terms of preparations, it is important to reinforce to people on the street, hopefully people also have homes to go to, but people on the street, that the financial system is ready for it. We have been preparing for this for years. One of the uncertainties in all of this is different people mean different things when they talk about no deal. When we do our contingency planning at the Bank of England, no deal means no deal. No deal means there's no side arrangements. No deal means that the trading relationship instantly goes to WTO tariffs and product standards, and then it has the associated economic effects. So in terms of households and businesses, look, I would say broadly this, which is that UK households, I said it a moment ago, are acting prudently. They're not borrowing a lot. They're spending out of their real income. They do have a very strong labor market going into this. Unemployment at a 44-year low. Real wages are growing the fastest since before the crisis, since 2008, and inflation's bang on target. So real incomes are growing, but households are not becoming overextended, and that's probably the right approach to take.
Did you folks see that? What is he doing? Did you see how proud he was of himself then? Pushing his chest out because of how virtuous his question was. Oh dear. Bloody Wally. I've had a quick look before finishing this video at how the mainstream media are reacting to this press conference, and of course, as predicted, it's pretty bloody gloomy. Bank sees 33% risk of recession due to Brexit uncertainty. Sterling sinks below 121 as dollar strengthens. UK and Eurozone release bleak manufacturing data.
We're doomed.
Bank of England slashes growth forecast in face of Brexit worries.
We're doomed.
Now, the Bank of England says there is a 1 in 3 chance of a recession, even if there is a smooth Brexit. It's also warned that a no-deal Brexit could leave the pound sterling at record lows. And the bank has cut its economic growth forecast for this year and next to 1.3%.
We're doomed.
At the end of the day, if you put the mainstream media's narrative and this video together, you'll get a much better picture of what's actually happening. Businesses are slightly worried, but the British public are generally taking it in the stride by not pissing away money frivolously. Things are holding steady. They'd be better if we could get rid of the uncertainty by just getting on with it. But whatever happens, our financial sector is much more prepared for it than it ever was for the banking collapse and resulting recession last decade. Keep calm and bloody carry on, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, folks. It always helps out, even if it's just motivational.